To escape his terrifying mafia boss girlfriend, Scarlet Thorne, our guy Nathan chose to pull the ultimate ghosting move, faking his own demise and fleeing the country. Wild, right? Scarlet threw a massive, dramatic funeral for him. She even cuddled his ash urn, cursing Nathan's name late into the night. Fast forward 1 year later, he was vibing at a nightclub, living his absolute best life with 99 lovely ladies. Just as he lifted his head, he locked eyes with the chilling gaze of that exact woman. Nathan Hayes, did I not feed you enough that you actually dared to run away from me? After saying that, she flashed a completely sinister, villainous smile. Nathan downed the glass of wine in his hand, immediately vaulted over the railing, and jumped from the upper floor. The second he hit the ground, Nathan completely vanished from her sight. All Scarlet saw was the text message he left on his phone. The Scarlet Thorne sugar baby contract has been officially terminated by yours truly. From now on, they owed each other nothing. Running away from the club, Nathan was still totally traumatized by memories of his past life. He had simped for Scarlet Thorne for 5 whole years, but her attitude towards him was always completely cold and distant. It wasn't until the day her family went bankrupt that things finally changed. He found her working off massive debts as a waitress in some sketchy bar. Because it's you, I will pay off all your debts, Nathan told her. She pursed her lips. Eventually, she just accepted the gold-plated black card that he slipped into her lace dress. From that day on, Nathan spoiled her to the moon and back. He paid off all her massive debts. He even used his entire family fortune to fund her startup, turning Scarlet into the absolute richest person on the Forbes list. But after she got successful, the very first thing she did was pay him back 10 times the redemption fee just to buy her freedom. Also, she could return to her precious first love. Nathan, he totally rejected her. Her precious first love was deeply heartbroken and fled to a very far away land. Then, unexpectedly, he got into a plane crash and didn't even leave a single bone behind. To take brutal revenge for her true love, Scarlet forced Nathan's parents to prematurely log out of life. Even Nathan was buried alive by her in the snow, until he literally turned into a human popsicle. Stick with me. Right before game over, Nathan learned the dark truth. He was nothing more than the vicious supporting male character in this fictional world. He had absolutely no way to reverse this doomed ending. But you and I know this genre. Miraculously, he respawned exactly 1 year ago. It was the exact moment when Scarlet's assistant came to him to sign the contract termination, agreeing to compensate Nathan with a whopping 50 million. Without a single moment of hesitation, Nathan agreed. She wanted total freedom. Fine, he would gladly refund it to her. Then Nathan decisively signed his name on the agreement. After seeing her assistant Arthur out, his hands were completely trembling. With red eyes, he hurriedly called his parents. Mom, Dad, go process your permanent overseas immigration papers right now. Transfer every single asset under your names abroad. I want to take you guys away from here, and we are never coming back. Hearing his sudden demands, both his parents were completely stunned. What's wrong, Nathan? Did something happen? He didn't want them to know about his insane reincarnation, but he was dying of anxiety. He could only hastily make up an excuse. I had a terrible nightmare last night. I dreamt that if we stayed in this country, our family would be ruined, and we'd meet a completely gruesome end. The 2 elders just didn't get it. They tried their hardest to talk him out of it, but his mind was made up. Because they loved him so deeply, they had always spoiled him, giving in to his every wish. So eventually they agreed. After hanging up, he started packing his things, the clothes, the expensive designer bags he bought for Scarlet, the luxury cosmetics, perfumes, and even those candid photos he secretly took, plus the 999 cheesy love letters he wrote her. He threw every single piece straight into the trash. That day, he scrubbed the villa until it was spotless. Now watch this. Scarlet, who had been completely MIA forever, finally showed up with Trevor Sterling. The moment she walked in, she instantly noticed Something felt wrong. She looked around and demanded, "Where is my stuff?" He answered, "Honestly, everything I bought for you is in the trash. Your personal items, though." "I didn't touch." Scarlet shot him an absolute death glare. "I've only been gone a few days and you're already throwing a childish temper tantrum. Look, besides, I told you ages ago, I refuse to play along with that ridiculous contract anymore. I don't want to spend the rest of my life tied to you. Think it over and just sign those papers. 50 million is more than enough compensation for you. What exactly are you still whining about?" Hearing Scarlet's arrogant, confident tone, our MC froze for a second, then it finally clicked. Her special assistant clearly hadn't told her the news. He had already agreed to cancel that whole sugar baby deal. She completely assumed he was still holding out, just as he opened his mouth to explain. Trevor stepped up, playing the victim. "Mr. Hayes, Scarlet has been taking care of me lately, so she couldn't come home. If you're mad, just blame me." Seeing Trevor bowing like that, Scarlet frowned, rushing to support him. "Get up, Trevor. The relationship between him and me is purely just a business transaction. There is zero true love here at all. You don't need to apologize to him." Hearing that, our guy's whole body literally trembled. So the years they had spent together, in Scarlet's eyes, from start to finish, it was nothing more than a financial transaction. No wonder she kept raising her price. Absolutely desperate to leave. The only one who invested real feelings from start to finish was him. He was just playing the clown. He looked at Scarlet, then at the deeply affectionate look she saved only for Trevor. Suddenly, he just turned around and walked away to his room. Not long after, a knock echoed on his door. Trevor walked in, acting all timid, holding some coffee. "Mr. Hayes, Scarlet's in a meeting. I made you a cup of coffee. I also really wanted to chat with you." Thinking about this fact that he was leaving soon anyway, he dropped his usual hostile attitude. His tone softened up. "What do you want to say?" Trevor nervously clenched his fists. I know you and Scarlet were childhood sweethearts, but forced love really isn't sweet at all. You using a contract to tie her down only makes her feel completely tortured. You won't get the love you want either. In the end, both sides will just end up hurt. Is this really the outcome you want?" He just looked at Trevor, smiling silently. "What exactly gives you the right to say these things to me?" "Nothing, I'm just like you. We both deeply love Scarlet, so I really don't want to see her tortured like this. She doesn't like you. Your presence here will only remind her of her worst times. What she wants to escape isn't just the cage you built with your love, but also that dark past. She's such a proud person. She refuses to show her emotional scars to anyone else, but she absolutely cannot escape those dark shadows. That is exactly why facing our guy makes her so gloomy and utterly dark." Hayes just freezes in place. For the very first time, he realizes why Scarlet desperately wants to avoid him. "See, you and I know he survived 4 extremely dark years. Witnessing her absolute worst moments, he actually believed these shared struggles would basically grow their love. But for a girl like Scarlet, who just wants a totally fresh start, he is nothing but a deeply unforgettable nightmare, opening up her softest and most vulnerable side to Trevor instead. That just proves our guy never actually entered her world. In that brutal moment, an endless wave of pure bitterness hits him hard, and the last lingering hope in his heart completely turns to ash. He forces himself up, just wanting to walk away. Trevor hurriedly chases after him, trying to hold him back. "Mr. Hayes, I just wanted to explain." Before finishing, Trevor panics and bumps right into a display shelf by the wall. Several massive, heavy vases immediately fall straight down and smash right onto our MC. They both yell out and crash onto the floor. His body gets totally covered in red sauce from the impact. The intense pain stretches his nerves to the limit. It hurts so bad he cannot even breathe. Trevor is also terrified, but before anyone can react, his loyal guard dog suddenly rushes out, scaring Trevor so bad his face completely loses color. See, Trevor got bitten by a dog as a little kid, so the second he spots this massive golden Retriever, his pure instinct is to turn and bolt. The dog just keeps chasing him. Relentlessly from behind, in an absolute blind panic, Trevor badly twists his ankle and tumbles straight down the stairs. His ear-piercing scream echoes throughout the entire massive villa. Hearing the loud commotion, Scarlet runs out. Seeing this disaster, the color instantly drains right from her eyes. She rushes down the steps and pulls Trevor straight into her arms. Spotting the nasty, terrifying wound on his forehead, she is absolutely heartbroken. She glares sharp daggers at the poor dog on the stairs. Furious fire burning inside her chest. Our MC hears the tragic screams too, and he endures the terrible pain to crawl up, needing to see what just happened. As soon as he looks out, he hears Scarlet throwing a completely furious roar. Trevor's body is already super weak, and he is terrified of dogs. Why let the dog out too? Bite him. You and I know our guy totally did not expect this madness. He is in so much pain he cannot even breathe, only forcing out very weak sounds from his throat to explain everything. Trevor knocked over those vases first. Buddy saw I was hurt, so he chased him. Buddy is usually such a good boy. He is terrified of strangers. He only acted out because he was worried about me. I do not want to hear these pathetic excuses anymore. Scarlet fiercely snaps. If you cannot control your own dog, then beat it to the afterlife so it will not cause trouble again. She completely ignores his desperate explanation and very directly calls in the security guards, seeing several beefy guys charging right toward him. Buddy immediately goes on high alert. As for our MC, hearing all this gives him full body goosebumps. His pure instinct is hugging Buddy tight, begging them to spare the dog, but these security guards show absolutely zero mercy here. They pin him hard against the wall and start swinging their heavy batons relentlessly right at Buddy. Seeing this brutal attack, Buddy goes into a total frenzy and aggressively charges forward. But how could a loyal dog survive a brutal beating from massive thugs? It didn't take long before he was brutally smashed to the ground, gasping his final breaths. Seeing this, Nathan completely shattered. He stumbled forward, desperately wrapping his arms around Buddy. He watched the light slowly fade from the poor dog's eyes. Buddy nuzzled his head against Nathan's hand one last time and then finally closed his eyes. Right then, Nathan felt his very heart shatter into a million jagged pieces. In absolute agony, he held onto the dog's rapidly cooling body. With bloodshot eyes, he glared up at Scarlet, his voice dripping with pure despair. If you hate me, then just hate me. Why do you have to be so ruthless and send Buddy to his death? He did absolutely nothing wrong, but right at that moment, Scarlet only had eyes for the unconscious Trevor. She glared down at Nathan coldly. He's not innocent. He ruined everything, and if you think that letting a dog die in your place saves you from punishment, let me tell you, I will absolutely not let Trevor suffer in vain. After dropping that line, Scarlet called her bodyguards over, barking out a few orders. The distant wail of an ambulance siren slowly grew louder. Caring about literally nothing else, she took Trevor away from him. Watching Scarlet's cold silhouette fade into the distance, Nathan couldn't hold back anymore, screaming until his voice went completely hoarse. Scarlet, back when those vicious creditors cornered you in that alley, Buddy took a brutal beating from those thugs until they snapped his leg just to save you. That is exactly why he feared strangers. He loved you so much. When you were at absolute rock bottom, he stayed right by your side every single day, keeping you company through those long, dark nights. He waited for you to come home every single day. How could you be so utterly heartless? Nathan screamed at her in pure fury, but Scarlet didn't even break her stride. The only response he got was the icy voice of a bodyguard. Mr. Hayes, Boss Scarlet said, since you let your dog attack someone, you need to be locked in the cold storage freezer too. Reflect on your horrible actions. Right after that, 3 massive thugs dragged Nathan away and violently tossed him inside the walk-in freezer. He clung tightly to Buddy's lifeless body. His bloodshot eyes filled with a hollow, numb emptiness. He was so incredibly cold. He was Shivering uncontrollably, moisture rapidly condensed into frost across his skin as every single agonizing second. And minutes slowly ticked by, his heartbeat grew slower and slower until he just completely passed out entirely. It's unclear how much time actually passed, but when Nathan finally woke up, he found himself staring at a hospital ceiling. A doctor was adjusting his IV drip, asking with a really heavy tone, "Why on earth did you lock yourself in the freezer? Just 2 minutes later and you would have been a literal human popsicle." Hearing that word, this biting cold suddenly rushed back into Nathan's body like it had never even left. Right then, his parents called. "Nathan, your mom and dad have officially transferred all our domestic assets abroad. The final paperwork goes through next week, and then we are good to go. Are you absolutely certain you want to immigrate? What about Scarlet? Didn't you really love her?" Nathan just stared blankly up at the hospital ceiling above him and replied flatly, "In this lifetime, I will never, ever love Scarlet again." But before he could even finish speaking, Scarlet forcefully pushed the door open, staring at him with a seriously complicated look, their eyes locked in midair. In that split instant, she flinched hard, looking away like she'd been struck by lightning. "Why don't you love me anymore? Then why did you hurt Trevor? Why do you keep faking being sick just to get my attention? Why refuse to sign that contract?" The doctor stepped in. "Severely injured. You look completely fine to me. Clearly, you still have the energy to put on this whole act." Facing Scarlet's ruthless and mocking interrogation, Nathan stayed completely ice cold. Every single word he said was true. Not liking her, true. Being sick, true. And that precious contract she had been dreaming about, he already signed it. Just as Nathan finished speaking, the Hayes family butler walked straight in. "Young master, those wedding dresses you asked the designer to sketch out for Boss Scarlet last month are completely finished. Do you want to check for any modifications are needed?" Scarlet just burst out into a harsh, sarcastic laugh. Grabbing the thick stack of beautifully bound design sketches, she ripped them all straight into shreds right in front of Nathan. Then, completely ignoring the butler's shocked face, she turned to storm out, dropping one final sentence. "If you do not understand what true love actually is, I will teach you. I absolutely do not need these wedding dresses." Slammed the door aggressively shut. The butler just looked at Nathan, completely helpless. "Young master, I will immediately have the designer send another copy." But Nathan gently shook his head, stopping him cold. "No need. Take all the surprises and gifts he prepared for Scarlet over the years and completely destroy them all. He did not need them anymore." Honestly, Nathan was about to completely disappear from Scarlet's world. For good, he just needed to endure one final week. That afternoon, after being discharged, Nathan took Buddy to the pet crematorium. The big, fluffy dog who used to follow him everywhere had now turned into just a handful of ashes. A few days later, two close friends in his social circle actually got married. Nathan received the invitation, forced himself to get dressed up, and attended the fancy banquet. Seeing his pale face, his friends quickly surrounded him, offering up some comfort. "Look, Nathan, Scarlet is just temporarily bewitched by Trevor. It is just a quick, fleeting obsession with something new. Once she gets completely bored, she will definitely come back to you. After all, you are the most important person who helped her bounce back." Nathan knew they were just feeling angry on his behalf, but having lived a past life, he knew Scarlet's love for Trevor was an unbreakable steel fortress. You and I know he didn't want to smash his head against that wall anymore, nor did he want his friends catching any collateral damage because of him, so he just seriously told everyone his current mindset. "The contract between Scarlet and me is already completely terminated. Whoever she actually likes or wants to marry in the future has absolutely nothing to do with me. Please just stop talking about Trevor." None of his friends believed him. They all stared wide-eyed. "You have liked her for almost 20 years. Are you seriously willing to just accept defeat to a total guy like Trevor?" Just then, a freezing cold voice came from behind them. "Trevor is a good person. 1,000, 10,000 times better than any of you. He is the only boy I will ever deeply love in this lifetime. On the contrary, it is you guys sneaking around, completely badmouthing him. Behind his back like disgusting sewer rats, Nathan turned his head and we all realized it was actually Scarlet. She gently pulled a red-eyed Trevor into her arms, then made a phone call. She immediately instructed her project department to completely terminate all collaborations with the Gu, Shen, Fang, and Shang families. Hearing this insane order, everyone present was completely shocked. We did not even say anything, canceling so many commercial deals just for a guy like Trevor. Did you really have to make such a massive scene? Scarlet raised her eyes filled with pure disgust, freezing cold to the extreme. Trevor is my bottom. Watch this. Scarlet drew a line, touched Trevor and you pay. Her icy gaze swept around and finally locked onto our guy, packed with pure threat. He knew it was a strict warning. He gritted his teeth, absolutely desperate to defend his friends. Do you really have to do this? He asked. Scarlet's voice was terrifyingly cold. Anyone who slanders Trevor will surely face bad ending. Having lived through his past life, he knew Scarlet meant absolute business. He couldn't afford a huge clash right now, so he led his friends away. Soon the wedding ceremony began, even though they were seated far back. Just by looking over at the next table, he watched Scarlet and Trevor's every single move. She would carefully rinse the tea set placed right in front of Trevor. She picked up food and even peeled shrimp for him. She actually intercepted heavy toasts on his behalf. Only in front of Trevor would Scarlet drop her icy armor, becoming completely gentle, wildly meticulous, perfectly patient, and considerate. The exact heart he couldn't warm up after a dozen years had completely melted into pure putty for Trevor. After the wedding finally wrapped up, he got ready to head home, but he bumped right into Scarlet downstairs. The second their eyes met, he immediately looked away, but she coldly called out to him, "Have you finally thought it through about ending this little sugar baby contract, or are you just not satisfied with the price? Just tell me straight up how much money you want." Time and time again, he had lost absolutely all desire to explain himself to her. He lowered his head, his tone dead calm. "I actually want to ask you something. In your eyes, can my whole existence and the entire dozen years of history between us be completely erased just with this exact sum of cash? If I take your money, we will have absolutely nothing to do with each other for the rest of our lives. We will never ever cross paths again, right?" Those exact words made Scarlet fall completely silent. She stared at him, a highly complex, almost invisible emotion flashing deep inside her cold eyes. Honestly, she really wanted to tell him she merely wanted to end this toxic contract, not completely sever all contact with him forever. But right then, she spotted Trevor walking out of the restroom. She swallowed those exact words right back down. Finally, she just said one cold word: yes. Hearing her actually admit it, his numb heart still felt a brutal pang of suffocating sadness, but he quickly adjusted his mood, looking right at Scarlet, holding Trevor's hand with fingers perfectly intertwined. He nodded slightly. "I understand, don't worry. I will do as you wish. In 5 days, you will get everything you want." "What, 5 days?" Scarlet instantly frowned, just as she was about to question him, but he had already turned and walked away. Hearing Trevor whine about being hungry, she quickly tossed his heavy words to the back of her mind. Now watch closely. Arriving home, he liquidated the very last of assets left under his name, his epic esports models, the luxury villa, the sports car. He sold them all off, converting everything straight into cash. It rained heavily that dark night. He was just packing up his luggage when he suddenly heard frantic knocking at the door. He opened it up, and you won't believe this. A totally soaked Trevor was kneeling down, crying right in front of him. "Hey, Scarlet fainted today and was rushed straight to the emergency room, but because I'm not her legal family member, I can't sign the crucial surgery consent form. I could only try to contact her relatives abroad, which literally almost made her miss the golden window for treatment. She is still trapped in the ICU right now. You know her parents passed away, and she has 0 relatives around here. I am begging I beg you to cancel the contract and finally give her absolute freedom, please. I want to be her real husband. I just don't want to stand there totally helpless during critical moments. Like this, Trevor begs, refusing to just watch Scarlet meet her certain doom, but facing Trevor's desperate pleading. Nathan remembers his past life. Let me tell you, back then Scarlet had also fallen terribly ill. Back then, Nathan panicked and quickly transferred her straight to the absolute best private hospital. He hired all the top medical doctors in the country, which is exactly why nothing bad happened to her. Then, he stayed by her side day and night without any rest, getting so exhausted he could barely even stand straight. But when Scarlet finally woke up, just because Nathan yelled at Trevor in a blind panic, she got absolutely furious and kicked him out. So this time around, Nathan wasn't going to humiliate himself. He just pretends he doesn't know a single thing, since Trevor is just some ordinary guy with zero background or connections. Of course, he has no way to stay calm in emergencies, let alone somehow use a massive network for high-end medical help. It is perfectly normal that Scarlet has to suffer some serious pain, but she is the main character of this world, right? Her ending is destined to be safe and sound, so Nathan isn't worried at all. He just calmly looks at Trevor. Mr. Sterling, do you like watching those idol dramas? The handsome, rich male lead and the pure female lead falling in love at first sight, but they always have to face so many trials before getting their happy ending. You and Scarlet are exactly like that. No matter how many hurdles you face, even with a background extra like me causing trouble, nothing can stop you two from running to each other. So stop worrying about Scarlet. You are her destined husband. You two will grow old together for the rest of your lives. As for me, I won't be a roadblock for you two anymore. What you want, I already gave back to Scarlet. Go home. Trevor is burning with total anxiety, staring at Nathan with blank eyes, completely not understanding what he is even talking about. Nathan doesn't explain further, just turns around and heads upstairs to sleep. The next morning, when Nathan walks downstairs, he realizes Trevor hasn't left. Now watch this. Like a stubborn ghost, he stayed in the yard all night. His face is pale as paper, his entire body totally dizzy and swaying like he is about to collapse. Seeing this fragile state actually kind of startles Nathan. He actually tries to step forward to support him, but the moment he reaches his hand out, Scarlet comes running over and viciously shoves him away. Scarlet is still wearing her hospital gown, face completely drained of color, but she tightly hugs Trevor. She reaches up to touch his burning hot forehead and then glares at Nathan. You and I can feel that freezing gaze. Nathan Hayes, he has never once offended you. It rained so heavily, yet you made him kneel all night long. How could your heart be so vicious? Facing her completely furious reprimand, Nathan clenches his hands into tight fists. His voice fills with deep, heavy helplessness. It has nothing to do with me. I told him to go home last night. He stayed kneeling for hours without saying a word. Wow, Scarlet snaps back. Nothing to do with you, huh? Trevor is completely unconscious right now. You can make up whatever fake excuse you want, since he can't even say a word to refute it. But what you did, you know perfectly well in your heart, and so do I, so stop making these useless, flimsy excuses. You had better pray that nothing happens to Trevor. Otherwise, I will definitely make you pay. After fiercely scolding our guy, Scarlet takes Trevor straight to the hospital. She even orders her guards to forcefully drag Nathan into her car. You and I watch Scarlet anxiously stare at the unconscious Trevor, her eyes full of heartbreak. She kept desperately urging the driver to speed up. The driver, sweating buckets, his nerves were stretched to the absolute limit. Around a sharp curve, he slammed the gas hard, completely ignoring his blind spot. Suddenly, a sports car blasted out of nowhere. Next second, boom, the ear-piercing screech of crushing metal tore through the air. A brutal head-on collision. Sitting in that passenger seat, Nathan took the worst hit. He smashed into the door, feeling like his organs had entirely shifted. The sheer pain made breathing impossible. He was suffocating in pure agony. Nathan's consciousness started to slowly dissolve in chaos. His heavy eyelids drooped as a bloody red covered his entire vision. Just before passing out through the shattered glass, Nathan saw Scarlet supporting a bleeding Trevor, walking away into the cold rain. In a total daze, he heard ambulance sirens and a doctor's panicked shouting, "This patient has a damaged artery. He needs surgery now or it'll be fatal." "Ma'am, are you sure you want to treat the patient with the high fever first? He has no fatal wounds. A tiny delay in treatment won't kill him." Scarlet's reply pierced right through the hospital door, straight into Nathan's ears. Ice cold, she said, "I only need Trevor to be safe. I don't care how badly Nathan Hayes is hurt. Save Trevor first. Anyone else's life or death means absolutely nothing to me." After escaping that brutal nightmare, Nathan finally woke up. He saw his parents' faces streaming with tears. "Nathan, the doctor said you almost died. Your dad and I almost had a heart attack. Thank God you're okay." The luck of surviving flooded Nathan's heart, making him unable to hold back his own tears. The family of three hugged and cried endlessly until his parents finally calmed down. His mom gently wiped his tears. "Since you're so badly hurt, let's delay our trip for a month, okay?" Remembering everything that had happened since his rebirth, Nathan was still deeply traumatized. He shook his head. "No delays, Mom, Dad. The medical facilities over in Europe are also fantastic. We can go there for my recovery. Let's stick to the original plan. We fly tomorrow afternoon." On the final day, Nathan asked his parents to make one last trip to the villa for his luggage and Buddy's ashes. 2 nurses checked his room and instantly started gossiping. One whispered, "I heard the Thorne Group's CEO is here. She booked out all the VIP rooms and brought in top-tier medical experts just to treat her boyfriend who only has a fever. She spoils him rotten. It's exactly like an idol drama. Who is this guy anyway? What's his background to make Scarlet Thorne care so much?" The nurse tapped her nails lightly on the chart clipboard. "Did you know?" The other nurse shook her head but suddenly remembered something, looking at Nathan with bright eyes. "You and that boyfriend came in together from the crash, right? Do you know him? Which rich family is he from?" Nathan's eyelashes fluttered slightly. He lowered his eyes and replied blankly, "I don't know him. Maybe it's just as you said. He's the male lead of a drama. How could a background character like me know him?" The nurses totally bought it. They fluffed his pillows, chatted a bit, then finally left. Silence filled the room. Our main character grabbed his phone one by one. He wiped every trace of Scarlet from his contacts. After finishing that clean sweep, his parents called. They were almost at the hospital. Caregiver helped him into a wheelchair, rolling him right out of the ward. The second those elevator doors opened, boom, Scarlet's special assistant Arthur standing right there. He gave this super fake, half-hearted greeting. "Mr. Hayes, last time after you signed those papers, I got stuck on a 2-week business trip, so I haven't submitted this agreement yet. But hey, don't worry, I'll pass it to Boss Scarlet right now." Just as our guy was about to speak, he heard Scarlet's voice echoing from behind. He turned around, instantly meeting her absolutely freezing, icy glare. "How many times has it been? Is he seriously still refusing to sign?" Assistant Arthur totally froze. Just as Arthur tried to speak, our guy shut him down. "See for yourself." As he spoke, he snatched that document folder right out of Arthur's hands and personally shoved it directly into Scarlet's hands. Seeing his completely deadpan face and Arthur's super hesitant look, a flicker of pure suspicion crossed Scarlet's eyes. She was just about to open that contract when her phone suddenly rang. "Scarlet, where did you go?" The nurse said, "It is time for your checkup." Flipping the folder halfway, Scarlet just silently closed it. She shoved the document folder right back against Arthur's chest. "No need to look. I know he definitely hasn't signed it. Next time, draft a completely new contract and multiply the buyout price by 30 times. After giving those orders, she locked her gaze back on him. Her tone felt incredibly heavy. "This is The fourth time I am raising the price. I hope you don't disappoint me again." Dropping that line without a single extra word, she turned around and marched toward the VIP ward. You and I can imagine Arthur's totally dumbfounded expression here. Mr. Hayes, hearing Trevor's voice, he knew Scarlet was just busy keeping her new lover company. He watched her retreating back and finally let out a genuinely relieved smile. Besides Trevor Sterling, absolutely nothing else in this entire world mattered to that woman. He gave her total freedom. Next time she actually wants to listen, just tell her the truth. He told a stunned Arthur. Ding, the elevator doors slid open. His parents walked right up. With warm smiles, asked some caring questions, and pushed his wheelchair right on out of that hospital straight toward the airport. Outside, the weather was absolutely beautiful. He raised his hand, catching the warm sunlight, the bitter, freezing cold that had built up inside his body for years was finally melting away completely. Before boarding the plane, he pulled out 3 tickets and gave his parents a huge smile. "Mom, Dad, let's forget the past entirely and start a brand new life." Because this time, he refused to be just a supporting character anymore. He wanted to be the one and only, totally irreplaceable main character of his own epic life. Meanwhile, in a completely different timeline back at the hospital, Scarlet was gently comforting a crying Trevor. "Didn't the doctor literally say that as long as we take things slow, your test numbers will completely return to normal?" Trevor nodded and hugged Scarlet super tight. He looked at her with teary eyes. "Scarlet, I'll take great care of you and help you recover so quickly." The two hugged incredibly tightly, looking like absolutely nothing in this world could ever tear them apart. Then the assistant awkwardly interrupted their sweet embrace. "Boss Scarlet, I still haven't handed you this contract." Scarlet shifted her intense gaze toward Assistant Arthur. "You and I are watching this unfold." She takes the offered folder and casually opens it. She figures he hasn't signed it yet. Why even show her? Then she flips to the very last page. She stares completely blankly at that familiar handwriting at the bottom. "What's wrong, Scarlet?" Trevor moves closer and actually spots Nathan's signature. Scarlet checks the date next to his name. Her knuckles turn completely white as she grips the document's edge. He actually signed it. Her hands are visibly trembling now. She looks over at Assistant Arthur in total disbelief. "Mr. Hayes signed this half a month ago and already took the cash card." Arthur confirms it, hearing all this. Trevor is totally overwhelmed with joy and hugs Scarlet tight. "That is amazing, Scarlet. We can finally be together now." But our girl Scarlet isn't as thrilled as he hoped. Her hands just shake and the divorce papers hit the hospital floor. "You mean he actually signed it?" Arthur looks like he has finally read the room. "Yes, boss. Half a month ago, Mr. Hayes came and personally signed it right in front of me." Seeing Scarlett's expression suddenly drop, he quickly adds, "Don't worry, boss. The signature is already fully notarized by our legal team. It is already legally binding." "Well, since that is the case, I guess he and I are officially done." Scarlet says this while forcefully tossing the folder right back at Arthur. But strangely, her heart feels a little empty inside. "Scarlet," Trevor smiles, actual tears of joy glistening in his eyes. Scarlet sits right on his lap. "For long years, we can finally be together." A warm feeling spreads between the two, flushing both their faces red. Catching this, the special assistant quickly backs right out and gently closes that private suite door. Scarlet looks up, gently kissing away the happy tears at the corner of Trevor's eyes, softly planting a sweet kiss on his eyelashes. Trevor leans right down, kissing her lips. The warm tears just evaporate in their heavy breathing, turning right into heat that totally flushes their faces. Trevor's fingertips brush gently across Scarlet's slender waist, making her softly gasp. Inside that private ward, the intimate sounds of their romance echoes for a long time before eventually returning to total silence. Later, Scarlet takes Trevor straight back to her villa. Trevor's face constantly shows a pretty worried expression. "Will Mr. Hayes be angry that I brought you home?" Scarlet just Plants a sweet kiss on his lips. Does he dare? You are the one who will spend the rest of your life with me. You are my official husband. What does Nathan Hayes even count as? The fact I haven't kicked him out, yet is just me being polite due to our past history. The electronic door lock beeps crisply. Scarlet quickly enters the passcode and pushes open the big villa door. Sunlight pours straight through the floor to ceiling windows right into the foyer. She gently holds Trevor's hand and softly says, "Trevor, you move right into the master bedroom. I will tell Nathan to move all his stuff to the guest room." She squeezes his palm to reassure him. Scarlet pushes the door wide open, but stick with me. As soon as she looks inside, she totally freezes. "Scarlet, what is wrong?" Trevor looks at her, realizing she is completely stunned. Scarlet quickly composes herself and fakes a smile. "It is nothing, Trevor, come on in." She takes a few steps forward, instantly missing the familiar soft feeling brushing against her legs. That sweet golden retriever named Buddy will never again wag his tail and run towards her with his goofy doggy smile. The huge living room is so dead quiet you can hear the air conditioning running. Something is wrong. Scarlet glances up at the second floor. Normally, our MC would be standing there, leaning over the railing, smiling warmly as she walked inside, but she quickly shakes her head, desperately throwing those lingering thoughts away. "Trevor, this is your home," she announces, leading the new guy straight upstairs. Her grand plan right now: kick open the master bedroom door and order Hayes to move into the guest room. But the moment she actually swings that door wide open, she completely freezes. Dead in her tracks. The massive bed used to be covered with his expensive action figures, the nightstand, always filled with sweet photos he took of her. Plus, he always kept fresh flowers there, but now, the sprawling room right in front of her is totally wiped clean. Every single thing he lovingly arranged is completely gone. Not a single trace left. Scarlet panics, rushing forward to rip open the heavy desk drawers. Those spaces used to overflow with sweet love letters. Now, absolutely empty. She violently yanks the wardrobe open, only to realize his entire wardrobe is cleared out. Even those beautiful custom dresses he spent months designing for her, gone forever, leaving behind just a pathetic handful of her own scattered clothes. Scarlet looks furious now. She angrily summons the maid, demanding where his things went. The poor maid awkwardly stammers out the harsh truth. Turns out his parents showed up this morning and packed his very last bags. He is moving abroad permanently. She had zero clue. Scarlet aggressively grips the wooden desk, forcing a terribly fake smile. Well, good, at least he finally knows his place and left quietly. Trevor quickly slides up behind her, wrapping her in a tight hug. He sounds absolutely thrilled. This is just perfect. "Scarlet, that annoying obstacle is finally out of our way," she snaps. Back to reality, turning to hold him tightly. "We finally made it too." This exact day, hiding her face against his neck, she claims she is thrilled, saying everything is working out perfectly. With him around, she supposedly needs absolutely nothing else. Just sweet whispers, followed by a soft, natural kiss on his forehead. Meanwhile, let's check on our guy. High up in the clouds, a massive airplane engine roars loudly into the distance. Right before stepping onto that flight, Hayes took one final look at the skyline. This city held way too much heavy history, too many painful memories of Scarlet, but his attachments were totally dead. He just turned his head and walked straight inside, leaving the toxic past far behind him. That massive flight to Europe pierced through the heavy clouds. His final tears fell away, just fading into pure nothingness. Fast forward 2 weeks of peaceful recovery at a high-end French hospital. Our MC was finally healing. He turned to look out at the gorgeous foreign landscape. Right outside his window, the afternoon sun was shining down, warm and bright, fresh green grass everywhere, with cute couples enjoying lazy picnics together. And the iconic Eiffel Tower stood tall against that absolutely perfect blue sky. It was completely mesmerizing. Once his vitals hit the all clear, he flew through the discharge paperwork. Stepping out into the warm sunlight, his mind and body felt Insanely relaxed. Turns out, he actually could leave all that terrible drama far behind. Him forever, no more heartbreak over Scarlet, no more anger over the bitter fact that Trevor existed. Right now, our guy is completely reborn, taking full control of his new life, heading back to his family villa by the river. He entirely focused on planning a grand European tour. Days later, he steps right onto the all right, picture this. Nathan stood right there in the streets of ancient Rome, looking up at the legendary Temple of Venus, completely awestruck. Then he took a walk over to the Trevi Fountain. Right in the center of the city, sitting on the edge, holding a sweet coconut ice cream he got from a vendor, Nathan just watched all the tourists passing by. People were silently making their wishes. He was just enjoying his own private time. Splash, cool drops of fountain water hit his wrist. Then, a girl wearing a stunning white dress walked right toward him. She casually took off her sunglasses in front of him. Nathan looked up. This girl had absolutely stunning features and deep, striking ocean blue eyes. Thinking he was blocking her view, he was about to stand up when she suddenly grabbed his wrist. "Mr. Hayes, do you not recognize me?" This beautiful woman in front of him smiled so brightly under the Roman sun, making his heart completely skip a beat. Wow, what an absolute beauty. He cursed himself internally for staring. Realizing he was getting totally distracted by a pretty face, he flashed her a bright smile. The girl shrugged and smiled right back. "Mr. Hayes, I was your attending physician at the private hospital in Paris." Seeing him stare completely blankly at her, she raised her hand to cover the lower half of her face. "Do you recognize me now?" Her appearance slowly overlapped with the memory of that doctor wearing a baggy white coat and surgical mask back at the hospital. Now watch everything click together. "Oh, I am so sorry, Dr. Lambert. I really did not recognize you without the mask." Kloe Lambert just smiled. "Mr. Hayes, if you really want to make it up to me, how about treating me to a tour around Rome?" He could not believe his luck and immediately nodded. Just like that, he was strolling through Rome with Kloe. "Dr. Lambert, are you also traveling around Rome?" Kloe nodded. "Mr. Hayes, right after you were discharged, the hospital gave me some much-needed time off. I plan to travel around Europe. What a wild coincidence running into you here." Chloe's absolutely radiant smile looked even more gorgeous under the bright Roman sun. Nathan was completely mesmerized by her smile. He quickly smiled and said, "Dr. Lambert, you are too polite. Call me Nathan." Kloe replied, "Then Nathan, just call me Kloe." The Roman sky was perfectly clear, without a single cloud. The two of them strolled to the Trinita dei Monti church, sitting side by side on the stone steps, enjoying the cool breeze. Kloe then suddenly asked, "Nathan, can you tell me why you came to Europe?" Seeing his dead silence, she quickly apologized. "Nathan, I did not mean to pry into your privacy. I just wanted to know why you insisted on flying all the way from China to Paris for treatment." Despite being so insanely injured, she paused for a brief second. "I was once sent by the hospital to attend a major academic seminar in China. The medical standards over there are not inferior to France. Your injuries were not untreatable back home." Nathan quickly interrupted her, explaining he went through some genuinely terrible things back home. He was on the brink of death, almost losing his entire family. Kloe immediately looked so apologetic. "I am sorry, I did not know." He looked into Chloe's crystal clear, beautiful gem-like eyes. "It is okay, Kloe. A lot is in the past. As long as you let it go, you can welcome a new life." In Chloe's eyes, he could see the reflection of himself finally letting go of his massive burdens. A gentle breeze blew through his hair, softly brushing right past Chloe's ear. A slight emotional ripple formed in Chloe's heart. She quickly lowered her head to hide her flustered awkwardness. "Nathan," Kloe reached her hands straight out toward him. "I want to take back my previous invitation. I do not just." She invites him to tour Rome together. In fact, she asks if he will spend this entire vacation together. His heart skips a beat, and he gently places his hand on hers. He tells Miss Lambert he would be absolutely honored. Instantly, a massive, brilliant smile lights up Kloe's face. She mentions a great little cafe nearby, so they walk shoulder to shoulder inside. Right away, beautiful, soft piano music fills the air around them. Nathan stops to admire these vibrant, colorful paintings hanging all along the shops walls. Completely amazed by the art, Kloe steps in and thoughtfully explains. This place, the absolute oldest cafe in Rome. Trust me, legendary sculptors, famous writers, and classic musicians were total regulars here. They sit down, and a waiter in a tail coat takes their orders in English. Nathan just goes with black tea, while Kloe gets a latte and a croissant. He sits back, admiring the classic cafe decor. Kloe then slides that amazing-smelling croissant right toward him. Try it, she says with a soft smile. Nathan takes a bite. The rich, perfectly buttery flavor absolutely takes over. As he chews, a sweet hint of citrus lingers. Right there, it is genuinely so good, he admits, setting it down. He lowers his head, and out of nowhere, heavy tears just start hitting the table. Kloe is caught totally off guard. She quickly stands, walks over, and gently pulls him right into a warm hug. Nathan, what is wrong? She softly rubs his back gently, stroking his hair. He tells her about his old dog, Buddy, trying hard to hold back the sobs, but those tears just keep pouring down. Buddy was beaten to death trying to protect him. Kloe lets his heavy head rest on her shoulder, completely soaking her shirt with tears. He explains how back home, whenever he bought these croissants, Buddy would just rest on his lap, staring up with those big, sweet eyes while he ate. Nathan suddenly lets out this totally broken, painful laugh. Buddy's drool used to soak right through his pants. Kloe keeps rubbing his back, offering that quiet, tender comfort. She tells him she truly gets the pain of losing a pet. She will never ask him to forget. Her gentle voice honestly feels like magic right now. She says if he ever misses Buddy, he can visit her place. She has a big dog too, ready to offer some comfort. Nathan hurriedly wipes away his tears, whispering a sincere thank you. Kloe then gently squats right down in front of him, those ocean blue eyes, absolutely full of tenderness. It is a massive Bernese mountain dog named Duke. Hearing that name, Nathan seriously cannot help but laugh. Who knew this famously unapproachable, icy goddess of a doctor was calling her dog Duke back home? Kloe's soft fingertips wipe away the last tears from his eyes, her gaze just shimmering. She asks if he knows exactly why she called out to him back when he was making that wish. Nathan just shakes his head. Kloe smiles so warmly. She tells him that his eyes were not even focused on her back then. He was just watching all the normal people passing by outside. Her eyes grow even brighter. She admits she thought he looked exactly like a classic movie star, straight out of a black and white film, so ridiculously handsome she could not look away. Now watch this. Nathan's heart skips a massive beat. The sound of it is so deafening it drowns out the entire cafe. Right now, there is only him and this incredibly gentle Kloe right here. She confesses that approaching him, total selfishness on her part. Wanting to tour Rome together was also totally selfish, but right after that, she got even greedier. She wants him to stay by her side for this entire European vacation. Kloe's flawless face leans in closer and closer, his brain just. Nathan's mind went completely blank, just a slight chill as Kloe's lips landed right on his cheek, a soft touch. She pulled back fast. Sorry, she whispered, looking a bit guilty, but hey, at least he wasn't crying anymore. Now watch this. Back home at the biggest amusement park, Scarlet was holding Trevor's hand, looking totally helpless. Scarlet, look. A huge, bright smile completely took over Trevor's face. He pointed straight at a pink fox mascot snapping pictures with the tourists. Scarlet gave him a soft smile, just letting him drag her straight over to take a picture with the mascot. Scarlet, look. Trevor held up the fresh Polaroid photo, waving it right in her face. Scarlet completely froze. A memory of someone else slowly started overlapping with Trevor, who was standing right in front of her. Flashback time. After signing that contract, she was dragged to the amusement park with Nathan. He eagerly pulled her along just to take Photos with the mascots. Nathan excitedly showed her the fresh Polaroid picture, but she smacked it right onto the dirt. Nathan Hayes, I never knew. You were so childish. The old Scarlet just dropped that ice gold insult and walked away, but much later, she actually found that photo framed. Nathan holding her hand, smiling like crazy. That's when it finally hit her. After she ditched him, Nathan had crouched down, carefully rescuing that dusty Polaroid, treating it like absolute gold. Now Scarlet's heart just ached. Trevor saw she looked completely off and quickly hugged her. Scarlet, what's wrong? Scarlet snapped right out of her daze. She immediately comforted the worried guy. Trevor, I'm fine, just a little hot. Relieved, Trevor smirked playfully. He pointed straight at a haunted house called Ghost Mansion off in the distance. Scarlet, wanna brave it? She nodded, playing cute. You're always full of terrible ideas. They walked straight into the ghost mansion, plunging into pitch black. As they crept forward, creepy animatronics and brutal jump scares popped out. Scarlet screamed, throwing herself into Trevor's arms, shaking uncontrollably. Scarlet, Trevor grabbed her shirt tightly, making sure she stayed glued to his side in the dark, but he completely missed how. Scarlet's fingers were clenched totally white, her palms turning absolutely freezing cold. She was desperately trying to choke down the sheer panic. Ever since her parents jumped from that building while she was fast asleep, she had been deathly terrified of the dark. Nathan knew all about this secret trauma. Whenever night fell, he always kept a warm lamp on for her, because he understood her. He wasn't scared of ghosts, and he never dragged her to places like this haunted house. If it were Nathan, he definitely wouldn't have brought her here, right? That exact thought flashed right through Scarlet's mind. She flinched, quickly shoving that memory away. She tightly gripped Trevor's hand. Let's go. Trevor, who was also pretty spooked, just nodded. Fast, they waved at the camera, begging the staff to let them out. Scarlet, are you okay? Back under the sun, Trevor looked worriedly down at Scarlet's super pale face. She shook her head weakly. Trevor, I'm fine, don't worry about me. Trevor walked her over to a cafe chair to rest a bit. Scarlet, wait here. Trevor rushed to an ice cream stand and brought back a chocolate ice cream cone. Are you having heat stroke? He held it. He offered it with a caring gaze. Scarlet had no choice but to take a bite. She ate slowly. You and I know her past is dark. Once her family fell, she worked crazy odd jobs day and night just to clear the debts. Because of poverty and pure exhaustion, she would pass out instantly at home, sometimes skipping meals for the whole day. Eventually, Scarlet developed a brutally severe stomach issue. Nathan was the only one who knew. He never let her eat cold or raw foods. He always had hot, nourishing soup waiting at home for her. If Nathan were here, he absolutely would have snatched that ice cream right out of her hand and scolded her immediately. Thinking about this, Scarlet felt an incredibly deep sense of loneliness. Trevor suddenly touched her forehead. Scarlet, are you feeling sick somewhere? What's wrong? Scarlet handed the ice cream back. Sorry, Trevor, I really can't eat this. He frowned. Scarlet, what's happening? Are you hiding something from me? Seeing her boyfriend look so worried, she just shook her head. How could she possibly explain it? Those dark years she desperately wanted to escape had left permanent scars on both her body and her soul. And then there was Nathan Hayes, the man she tried so hard to avoid, just kept popping up in her mind. She could never completely forget him. Scarlet looked apologetically toward Trevor, her true emotions completely unreadable. He shook his head, placing one hand over her lips. It's okay, Scarlet. We can always come back another time. Her expression instantly softened. She got up on her tiptoes and hugged him tight. Trevor, you're so good to me. He smiled. If I'm not good to you, who else will be? Nathan's silhouette suddenly flashed in her mind. She aggressively pushed it away and hugged Trevor even tighter. That's right. Besides him, who else would ever treat me so well? Scarlet mentally repeated those words to soothe her extremely wavering heart. He killed the lights and they cuddled up. But trust me, Scarlet had a wildly restless night. she kept dreaming about the family business going bankrupt, her parents tragically passing away. She had to sell the family mansion and all their valuables, renting out a crappy little room shared by a dozen people. Every single day was a commute between the restaurant, a bar, and the slums. Her terrible stomach disease was severe, often waking her up in the dead of the night in total agony. The roommates she woke up would aggressively curse at her in that smelly room. She could only apologize over and over again. The crushing burden of massive debt made it impossible to breathe. We're about to see exactly how she survived, until that one fateful day. Inside the sketchy bar, she tried pulling apart two rich guys arguing over fancy cars. Totally drunk Air suddenly splashed his drink right on her. Who do you think you are? Don't touch me with those dirty hands. Scarlet just let her arms drop, clenching them into fists, remaining completely submissive. I'm so sorry. Please, please. Don't cause a big scene here. The annoyed guy raised his hand to strike her, but suddenly a tall figure blocked him. Try touching her. I dare you. The man radiated a totally intimidating aura. The rich guy completely froze. The newcomer waved his hand, and several massive bodyguards dragged the punk outside. Then, this young man turned around, gently draped his jacket over her shivering shoulders, and smiled. Scarlet, I paid off all of your debts. You don't have to live like this. Nathan stood against the flashing bar lights like an absolute heroic general. From now on, you belong to me. You will never leave my side for the rest of your life. Then came the memories of Scarlet and Nathan. She treated his youthful love like shackles, pushing him away entirely. Boss Scarlet, I am Trevor Sterling, applying for the secretary position, just like the main characters in some cheesy romance novel. The moment Scarlet met Trevor, she was completely hooked. She used to wonder why she felt this crazy, surging emotion for him, but without any logical reason, she just chalked it up to love at first sight. She loved him like crazy, ready to risk it all. Everything felt predestined. They were constantly drawn together. You and I know the truth, but Nathan, who saved her from the darkness, she grew to resent him. She absolutely hated the contract Nathan made, hated his desperate love, and hated him for standing between her and Trevor, stopping their perfect romance. But now, in her dream, Scarlet felt like she was floating in midair, watching everything unfold. She saw Nathan in the hospital corridor, suffering to protect his mother, begging the heartless security guards for medicine, getting nothing, and collapsing onto those cold tiles looking completely pale. She saw and heard Trevor's words. Stepping back, a vase smashed right onto Nathan's bleeding body. The little dog buddy rushed over while Trevor backed up until he tripped. She saw Nathan hugging Buddy's freezing body, getting thrown into the freezer by the guards. Frost formed in his hair, but he still tightly held the little dog his arms. Then she watched Nathan patiently reasoning with Trevor before closing the door. Trevor kneeled outside all night. Nathan had no clue, yet still got blamed by Scarlet. During the car crash, Nathan was dying, but she heartlessly abandoned him, almost costing his life. Then came the tragic image of Nathan standing lonely on the boarding stairs, walking away without ever looking back. When he left, his lips moved slightly, silently saying his final goodbye to her. Back in reality, Scarlet woke up with a massive jolt, drenched in cold sweat, her face pale, her pajamas completely soaked. Trevor woke up too and quickly flicked on the bedside lamp. Scarlet, are you feeling sick? Seeing her completely drained and panicking, he hurriedly called the maids and dialed for an ambulance. Soon, Scarlet was carried into the ambulance by the paramedics. The siren wailed loudly while Trevor just kept crying and shouting nonstop. The paramedics ran a quick check on Scarlet. He's so incredibly loud. Scarlet frowned. She forced her eyes open, only to see Trevor's tear-streaked face, but strangely, seeing her lover looking so anxious right now only made her feel incredibly annoyed. You seeing this? No, this isn't right, Scarlet muttered out loud. Scarlet, what's wrong? Tell me, Trevor pleaded. Tears fell from his eyes right onto her face. Then suddenly, a cold, robotic voice echoed in Scarlet's Mind, warning, warning. Female lead is deviating from the plot trajectory. Requesting increased control protocols. The blinding red lights of the ER suddenly flashed. Right before her eyes, she felt completely dizzy. Female lead, what plot? Trajectory, who even are you? Scarlet was shoved into the ER, those cold white doors separated her from Trevor. She clearly saw his agonized expression outside, but the very last thing echoing in her mind before blacking out was Nathan. Hayes's words, that frail figure nobody else had ever bothered to notice. A few hours later, Scarlet finally opened her eyes. The blinding hospital ceiling greeted her sight. Trevor was right by the bed. Seeing her awake, he threw himself right onto her. Scarlet tried to slowly hug the sobbing man. She spoke softly, trying to comfort him. "Scarlet, you're awake." Trevor lifted his tearful face, looking so worried. "Don't cry, Trevor." Scarlet reached out, her cold fingertips wiping away his tears. She had no idea why, but looking at him right now, an intense emptiness crushed her heart, like someone incredibly important had been totally erased from her memory. Her chest physically ached. Right now, she desperately needed to be alone. "Trevor, I'm okay. Please don't worry. Go home and rest." He obviously wanted to stay. "Scarlet, don't you want me here?" To stay, after all, she supposedly loved him deeply. She loved his company the most. "Trevor, honestly, I'm fine. I just need to rest here at the hospital. But you've been watching over me forever. If you collapse because of me, it would break my heart." After pushing hard, she finally convinced him to head home. But the second he walked out that door, Scarlet slumped heavily back onto the plush bed of her VIP suite. Closing her eyes, she fought hard to remember that crucial person she had somehow lost. Slowly, she drifted off to sleep. Sister Scarlet, a young boy with an oval face and missing teeth, smiled at her, the feeling painfully familiar. She reached out for his wrist, but grabbed total air. Then a handsome teenager draped a jacket over her. "I paid all your debts. You don't have to live like this." Scarlet desperately tried to pull the guy back and ask him everything, but he faded into nothing. "Goodbye." Scarlet, suddenly, a blood-soaked man with windswept hair was standing right there. She wanted to hold him so badly, but he just turned away without a single ounce of hesitation, walking straight past. "Nathan," she violently snapped her eyes open, screaming out loud. Smash! The white bowl of porridge in Trevor's hands hit the floor, completely shattering and splashing burning hot food everywhere. "Nathan Hayes, Nathan Hayes." Trevor stared at her in total shock. Stumbling backward, "Trevor, watch out." Scarlet completely ignored the broken glass and boiling mess. Ripping out her IV line, she chased after him. Barefoot, she wrapped her arms around his waist. "Trevor, please let me explain." Trevor's eyes were bloodshot, his voice totally cracking. "Then what is it? Tell me." "No, wait, it's not like that." Scarlet panicked, frantically wiping the tears falling down his face. "It's really not." She looked up, absolutely desperate. But she couldn't stop picturing that other man's shadow. Suddenly, the cold robotic system voice echoed in her head. "Warning, system control. Protocols failing. Female lead has broken away from the intended plotline." Meanwhile, over the next few days, our hero and Kloe visited the ancient Colosseum, the Basilica de Santa Maria Maggiore, and Castel Sant'Angelo. They danced right alongside the street crowds of Rome under the stars. The stunning, bright moonlight lit up their faces, adding some serious romance to that cool night. Kloe's hand slipped over his, their faces slowly pulled closer together. "Did you know?" Kloe stared at him, her deep blue eyes looking insanely mysterious in the shadows. "What?" He felt his cheeks absolutely burning, struggling to avoid her intense gaze. "This exact place. Castel Sant'Angelo, where the runaway princess and that disgraced journalist, after surviving exile, finally realized their true feelings for each other, sharing an eternal kiss right here." Kloe's warm breath got closer and closer. His face was entirely on fire. She gently lifted his chin, forcing him. Nathan met her gaze with rare assertiveness. "What about you?" he asked. He just could not stop staring into her eyes. They were completely brimming with pure affection. In that moment, Nathan wanted to just sink to the bottom of those emotional waters. Stick with me here, because K.H. Lowe's warm lips were inches from his, but in a split second, Nathan suddenly shoved her away. K.H. Lowe looked totally shocked. Meanwhile, Nathan's tears fell uncontrollably. He quickly covered his face, spun around, and ran off like a coward dodging reality. He just hid alone on a park bench under the dark trees, burying his head right between his knees, crying nonstop. Why could he not face her feelings? Well, it was probably because he was still trapped in the massive shadow his ex, Scarlet, cast right over him. Then K.H. Lowe quietly sat down beside him. Without a word, total silence stretched heavily between them. Only the loud chirping of cicadas marked the agonizing passage of time. "I'm sorry," Nathan finally muttered after a long pause. K.H. Lowe looked gently at his tear-stained face. "No, I'm the one who should apologize. I rushed things and scared you." Nathan shook his head repeatedly, looking right at her. Zero anger in her eyes, just absolutely overflowing tenderness. "It is really not that," he choked out between heavy hiccups. "I'm clearly the guy who said I wanted to leave the past behind, but I'm still entirely trapped in it." K.H. Lowe clearly saw the broken man right in front of her, timid yet brave enough to admit his flaws. "Can I give you a hug?" Seeing Nathan nod, she hugged him tight. Now, unlike Scarlet's harsh citrus perfume, K.H. Lowe's warm embrace smelled faintly of fresh green grass. "What perfume is that?" Nathan sniffed, burying his face in her shoulder. K.H. Lowe smiled softly. "I'm a doctor, no perfume. Is there a weird smell?" Nathan hugged her tighter. Shockingly, all the heavy misery and dark grievances he had built up for years finally flowed out of him with those tears. His cheeks burned red hot. He quickly pulled back from her warm embrace. "You're French, you don't get it. In China, only serious couples planning to spend their entire lives together meet the parents." K.H. Lowe looked right at his super bashful behavior and smiled gently. "I'm not just some French girl raised in France. I grew up in China and only moved away at age 15. She grabbed his shoulders, looking deep into his eyes. "So, I know exactly what meeting the parents means." Nathan stared at the stunning woman before him, her face flushed red. He awkwardly mumbled, "That's foul." Meanwhile, back home, Trevor pushed Scarlet out of the hospital in a wheelchair. The two were completely, unusually quiet. Ever since Scarlet accidentally called Nathan's name, the entire vibe between them hit an absolutely awkward freezing point. At first, Trevor seriously could not stop crying, even though Scarlet kept apologizing and admitting her massive mistake. He just could not forgive her. After that, the icy atmosphere between them dropped right to sub-zero. They just stared at each other in total silence. Trevor wheeled her straight back into the massive villa. Upon entering the door, Scarlet felt completely heartbroken. You see, this empty place no longer had a little dog named Buddy, and it definitely lacked a smiling Nathan Hayes. What really broke her heart even more, you and I know she actually ordered Buddy's tragic death, and she cruelly forced Nathan away. "Scarlet," Trevor suddenly spoke up, his voice sounding completely unusually cold. "What are you thinking about?" Scarlet shook her head, slowly turning back to him. "Nothing," she claimed. "Just hasn't been home in a while. Feeling pretty nostalgic." "Really?" Trevor's face instantly softened. He gently helped her walk up to the second floor, right onto the massive master bedroom bed. The room's decor was completely different now. Trevor had carefully set up those little wooden pieces and desk supplies she liked. Scarlet's eyes drifted to the vase sitting on the nightstand. Just like Nathan, Trevor had thoughtfully placed a bouquet of bright fresh flowers there. Scarlet squeezed her eyes shut in agony. She couldn't stop thinking about Nathan. Every single terrible thing she did to him crashed over her heart like a massive wave. Regret and deep longing hit like a sudden flood. Every time the memories surfaced, her chest felt like it was slashed open by a blade. Finally, Scarlet grabbed her phone and desperately called up her assistant Arthur. Find out exactly which country Nathan Hayes moved to and where he is right now. A weird hesitation echoed on the other end of the line. Mr. Nathan Hayes. Scarlet stayed totally quiet. She hung up, grabbing the edge of the mattress to pull herself up, walking straight to the desk. She yanked open a drawer. This exact spot used to hold Nathan's love letters. Now, you and I know she actually threatened him to burn them all, but he never could do it. Scarlet, are you sure you want to look? Trevor's cold voice interrupted her thoughts. Now, sitting in that drawer were only Trevor's random notebooks and some expensive watches. Scarlet let out a bitter smile, pushed the drawer shut, and walked to the wardrobe. She slowly opened the heavy door. Inside, just a few basic suits hanging up, definitely not Nathan's usual style. Suddenly, she desperately missed those custom suits Nathan had designed just for her. He always picked the absolute best fabrics and tailored the perfect, comfortable fits. He even hung them up perfectly by color, but she never bothered to wear them. She even ripped up his sketches. Scarlet suddenly remembered Nathan's pale, sad smile. It felt like a literal sledgehammer just slammed right into her chest. She dropped to her knees in pure agony. The brutal past kept playing on loop. Back then, she acted like someone else was controlling her mind, completely obsessed with Trevor, bullying Nathan, completely crushing his pure devotion. Oh, Nathan, I am so sorry, I really am. Suddenly her phone buzzed. Scarlet answered the call. Boss, we actually tracked down Mr. Hayes. His entire family moved to Europe, taking all their businesses and assets along. Scarlet's heart seized up in her chest. The assistant continued. He is currently vacationing in Rome. Our private investigator took some photos, and I just sent them over to your phone. She hung up immediately and opened the files. Right there, Nathan was smiling so brightly. Next to him stood a stunning mixed-race woman, Kloe Lambert, holding his hand. A massive wave of jealousy and grief hit Scarlet hard. She scrolled through those pictures, shaking in the dark. Kloe holding his hand, dancing together, the two of them hugging so tight, looking incredibly close. Kloe kissing his cheek, holding him so close. The phone slipped right out of Scarlet's trembling hands. She just sobbed in pure agony. Then a pair of slippered feet quietly stepped right in front of her. Scarlet. Trevor picked up the phone, and guys, that glowing screen was entirely full of pictures of Nathan. Scarlet. Trevor stared in absolute shock at her, just kneeling and crying her eyes out. Did you actually fall for Nathan Hayes? Tell me right now. Trevor dropped to his knees, violently shaking the weeping woman. Scarlet's lips tremble. After a tense silence, she finally drops the bomb. I've fallen in love with Nathan Hayes. Meanwhile, our guy Nathan and Kloe finally head straight for Cyprus. Word is, this island has the absolute purest beaches, crystal clear water and fine sand, sky and ocean blending perfectly together. It's just unbelievably beautiful. Now you and I get to watch them stroll across Cyprus, the literal sacred island of the goddess of love. The emerald in Kloe's eyes perfectly matches the seawater here. Honestly, she is the most stunning sight in Nathan's eyes. Locals say this is actually Aphrodite's birthplace, the literal goddess of love and beauty. Legend says if lovers pray here, she actually grants them an eternal, unbreakable, immortal romance. Nathan stares out at the distant rocks, shaped exactly like the goddess, standing completely tall against the crashing waves. He honestly just can't help but believe Kloe. But wait, does eternal love actually exist? Kloe just looks at him quietly. Maybe eternal love is just so insanely rare. That's exactly why people pray for it. Nathan, I can't actually promise you some kind of immortal romance, but I hope every single feeling I have for you right now is totally sincere. The ocean might hide some massive, terrible storms, but honestly, every loving moment stacked together, maybe that creates eternity. Nathan gets completely lost in those gorgeous eyes. He thinks, even if he sinks, being locked right here in this gentle moment is totally worth it. Their breaths mingle, the undeniable heat from their lips just barely brushing. Kloe trembles a bit. Nathan, she whispers, are you really gonna push me away? Their lips are literally inches apart now, but then. Nathan Hayes, what are you doing? Hearing that super familiar, furious voice, Nathan nearly falls right into the sea. Kloe catches him, tightly wrapping his shaking body in her arms. Let him go. Scarlet grabs Nathan's wrist, violently pulling him right toward her, her dark eyes absolutely blazing with fury. She can barely even form words seeing him this close to another woman, pure jealousy, and right then she realizes she might actually lose him. No, do you realize exactly how deeply your actions hurt him? Kloe is furious now, her brows furrowing, her eyes looking ready to unleash an absolute storm. Hearing Kloe call her out, Scarlet's grip actually loosens. Spotting her chance, Kloe quickly shields Nathan behind her back. Scarlet's anger spikes right back up. What happens between him and me is none of your business, outsider. What kind of fake, temporary girlfriend even are you? Or wait, are you even his girlfriend at all? This vicious little question totally startles Kloe. Even with her own heart completely tied in knots, she firmly protects Nathan behind her. Scarlet just sneers. Do you even know the history we have? He loved me for 15 years. And you, what have you even known him for? 2 months. Kloe lowers her head. Her body is trembling slightly, thinking Kloe is backing down. Scarlet smugly takes a few steps forward. If you know what's good for you, move. Then, Kloe absolutely explodes. This is what you and I waited for. She suddenly unleashes her power. Boom, a massive punch straight to Scarlet's jaw. It catches her totally off guard, knocking her straight into the ocean. Let me remind you, Kloe's eyes are literally burning with fire now. I was the European women's boxing champion for 3 years straight, even though I was underage back then. I'm pretty sure I can handle you. Kloe's fist rips right through the sea breeze, landing a clean hit on Scarlet's face. She tries to block it, but with her body this weak and the insane gap in power, Scarlet completely failed to defend herself. Blood covered Scarlet's face, while Kloe simply brushed the blood off her knuckles. She glared coldly. Nathan loved you for 15 whole years, and what did you give him? Just pure pain. Kloe grabbed Nathan's hand, warning Scarlet as she lay shivering in the seawater. Stay away from him. The two of them faded into the distance. Scarlet lay helplessly on the ocean surface, the harsh, salty water mixed with the blood on her face flowing straight into her nose. Choking, she sat up, staring blankly out into the distance. Why? She whispered into the wind. Her body was growing weaker by the second, but Nathan's face in her mind was only getting clearer. There was a massive surge of emotion, shattering its invisible chains, screaming at her to ditch Trevor at all costs and run back, but seeing Nathan, the exact person she secretly craved day and night, standing so close to Kloe, she totally lost control. Trembling, Scarlet pressed a hand hard over her chest. Her heart was beating like crazy. Now let's pause here. Had she actually loved Nathan this whole time? She remembered those weird electronic voices from before. Was it really possible that she and Trevor were the main characters of a story, but because she, the female lead, actually loved Nathan, the entire plot broke down? Scarlet looked down and suddenly burst into dark laughter. So literally everything, the neglect, the tragic death of her parents, her random hatred for Nathan, her fake love at first sight for Trevor, it was all just a cheap script written by someone else. Correct, the robotic voice suddenly echoed in her mind. Female lead, you have finally figured out the truth of this world. Please fulfill your sworn duty as the main character. Go back to Trevor Sterling right now, and if I refuse, Scarlet narrowed her eyes with a bitter laugh. If you refuse, you will be deleted like corrupted data. Your failing body is already the direct result of the system's strict control. Scarlet just laughed harder. You controlled my mind for years. Isn't that enough torture? Now you want me dead. The system fell completely silent. Then tell me, why did Nathan, who always pushed back against the contract, suddenly agree to it? Scarlet froze dead. Listen closely, here is the real twist. The first person to figure out the truth was not you, but Nathan. However, he Didn't see the full picture like you just did. He was simply too obsessed with you. Refusing to ever let go, that caused a massive glitch in the timeline. The system kept explaining the cold facts. He didn't exit the story when he was meant to, which pushed Trevor completely down the wrong path, forcing him to take over Nathan's exact role. Trevor fled to a foreign country in agony. Then you, seeking pure revenge, drove Nathan's innocent parents to their deaths. You even tortured Nathan until he died. The corners of Scarlet's eyes instantly burned red, hearing that she was the monster who tortured Nathan to his grave. Her heart shattered completely. Therefore, I fed him the original script, desperately trying to fix the broken timeline. But I never expected you to go rogue too. Every single correction so far has totally failed. The system's voice sounded incredibly helpless. Look, if you just go back to Trevor now, we might still fix this mess. No, absolutely not. Words of raw defiance spilled from Scarlet's lips. I will never let you cage me again. I am living my own life now. You cannot do that, the machine replied coldly, because when the system warned her, as the female lied, independent thoughts were strictly forbidden. Keep acting this stubborn, and this entire world is going to completely collapse. And eventually she would vanish too. Scarlet stayed quiet for a second, before suddenly asking if Nathan Hayes would become the new male Lud, living freely. When the system confirmed it, Scarlet finally let out a heavy sigh. Then she wasn't going back to Trevor. She would completely refuse that path. She chose to follow her heart and love Nathan, realizing persuasion was totally useless. The system shut down. It told her since her choice was unshakable, it would never appear again, and with that final warning, the system vanished. Scarlet tightly clenched her fists by her sides. If things were like this, she would finally be honest with him about her true feelings. Meanwhile, over at a small beach tavern, Nathan sat down with Kloe. They stayed quiet while laying out the amazing food on the table. He apologized for dragging her into his mess. Kloe looked at him gently. It wasn't his fault. Besides, she was actively pursuing him right now, wasn't she? She poured some dark red wine into his glass. He raised his glass to try the local drink, gently clinking it against hers. Cheers to Nathan taking his first real step toward a totally new life. He took a sip. Kloe's beautiful smile was absolutely enchanting. Without her help, he really wouldn't know what to do. He looked at her gratefully, surprised that she actually knew boxing too. Kloe just smiled. There was still so much he didn't know yet. She added that if Nathan wanted to learn more, she would be truly happy. His cheeks flushed bright red, and he quickly looked away, nervously mentioning the decor. His voice trailed off completely. Then, Kloe suddenly stood up from her chair, leaned across the table, and gently kissed his lips. She wanted to finish that kiss they had missed earlier. Smiling, she sat back down, her beautiful eyes still resting right on his lips. Nathan's face was burning up, his heart pounding wildly. Kloe smiled so gently in front of him. Staring at him seriously, she finally asked if he would be her boyfriend. Nathan just smiled and nodded his head. All right, watch closely. He only listened to his heart here, but suddenly a soaking wet Scarlet grabbed his wrist out of nowhere, causing his red wine glass to shatter completely on the floor. Kloe immediately stood up, glaring angrily at Scarlet. Back off. Scarlet totally ignored her and turned to Nathan, claiming she finally knew the truth. Her and Trevor just forced plot settings. The real truth was that she always loved him instead. Kloe's angry glare shifted into pure shock, then absolute pity for Scarlet. Was she crazy? Kloe grabbed Scarlet's collar, but Scarlet kept her eyes on Nathan. The system had explained everything. She was so sorry and wanted to make things right. Her past feelings for Trevor were totally forced by the plot. She actually loved Nathan. A flash of pure sarcasm crossed Nathan's eyes. What made her so confident that he still loved her at all? Scarlet stared at him intensely. He only left because of the story's crazy constraints. The system was gone forever now, so absolutely nothing could stop them anymore. But Nathan just shook his head. He left because he gave up. Walking over to Kloe, he held her hand tightly. 15 long years of love, and she pushed him away for 15 years. Now he had a new life, a new lover, and she just comes running back demanding his love, looking at Scarlet's terribly pale face. Trace of total exhaustion crossed his face. He didn't love her anymore. All right, watch this. Nathan tells Scarlet to stay away, and Kloe finally lets her go. She declares that she might have been an outsider before, but Nathan chose her now. She's in his life now and won't back down. Chloe's eyes just freeze over. This is her absolute final warning. If Scarlet dares to mess with their lives again, it won't end well. Kloe grabs Nathan's hand tight, and they just walk away. Together, Scarlet is left standing completely frozen. Her fingertips still remember his lingering warmth. But she can never get close to him again, and honestly, back when she chose Trevor and left Nathan lying in a pool of blood, this exact crushing pain is exactly what his heart felt. Scarlet slowly drops down right into broken glass. The shards cut her knees deep, but she doesn't feel it at all. She just mutters to herself, even if her past choices weren't from her own true heart. The damage she did to him was real. Everyone inside the tavern is just staring at her in absolute panic. The staff tries asking what's wrong, but Scarlet just stares blankly at the floor. Fast forward, we're heading to Spain. Kloe turns to Nathan. She stops walking. She's honestly just worried he doesn't even have the energy to keep traveling right now. Nathan apologizes, looking completely drained, but promises to finish the vacation with her. Kloe gives him this sweet smile. She asks if she can invite him home to spend the rest of the trip with her family, pulling him into a warm hug. She tells him not to apologize. None of this is his fault. Nathan closes his eyes, sinking into her embrace, catching that faint scent of fresh grass. Then Kloe pauses for a second. She genuinely wonders if his ex has some serious mental issues, like what plot, what system. Nathan actually chuckles in her arms. Kloe laughs right along with him as the breeze catches her hair. She even jokes about recommending a good neurologist for Scarlet. Nathan gently brushes his fingers against Chloe's cheek. She looks up. He asks the wild question, if this world really was just born from a novel's plot, and every single event was totally controlled by someone else, would she still love him? His fingers actually tremble, but Kloe feels that insecurity right away. Her warm hands cover his, smiling as she leans right into his palm. She admits she doesn't know if their reality is fake. All she knows for sure is that the very first time she saw him, her heart fluttered. She looks right into his eyes. When she saw him by the Trevi fountain in Rome, she chose to walk toward him. When she saw him crying at the Antico Cafe Greco, she made the choice to hold him, and dancing together at Castel Sant'Angelo, she chose to confess her feelings. Chloe's eyes are shining with tenderness. She promises that every step she took to reach him was her own genuine choice. Not some script. She takes his hand and places it right over her beating heart. It's steady, thump, thump, proving to him that absolutely nothing here was ever fake. She tells him she doesn't care about preset plots or if this whole world is imaginary. She only cares about loving him right here, right now. Her face slowly draws closer to his. Her soft hair brushes his forehead, their breaths falling into the exact same rhythm. That sweet scent of fresh grass fills the air as Kloe gently kisses him. Just a delicate touch, like a dragonfly on the water, but this time Nathan doesn't pull away, taking that as permission. Kloe suddenly cups the back of his neck and just goes for it, deepening the kiss. It's so pure, tasting like that fresh grass. They completely melt together, the kiss growing deeper. You and I absolutely love this. She leaves one last gentle peck on his lips before stepping back, his face flushed bright red and feeling awkward. Kloe just looks at him, totally innocent. I have no experience kissing anyone. I didn't know it would make you so uncomfortable. He looks up, completely shocked. Wait, this isn't your first kiss, is it? Kloe just smiles knowingly. This is the very first time I've ever kissed anyone, and you're the first guy I've ever liked. Watching her, his heart pounds like crazy, thank goodness. The first guy she liked actually got chased and caught by her. Kloe grabs his hand, smiling like a total winner. So, Mr. Boyfriend, can I invite you over to spend the rest of our vacation? She winks at him. Seeing him nod, she smiles happily. Now let's jump back to the hospital. Scarlet wakes up in bed. On one side stands Trevor, his face looking absolutely terrifying. Trevor, why are you here? Scarlet, you don't even call me dear anymore, Trevor says grimly. Glaring at her in the bed, Scarlet has no idea how to explain. She can only turn away, totally unable to meet his eyes. Trevor, you should go. I'll transfer 50 million into your account. Trevor just lets out a freezing cold laugh. First, you gave Nathan 50 million to leave you. Now you're giving me 50 million to walk away. His laugh echoes, sharp and piercing inside the dead quiet hospital room. Our great CEO Thorne really has nothing but her money. Scarlet frowns hard. Trevor, I'm the one who messed up, but forced love isn't real. I can't keep lying to my own heart. Scarlet, you are absolutely ridiculous. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a sharp blade appears right. Trevor's hand, the cold metal reflects Scarlet's pale face. With lightning speed, the sharp tip presses tightly against her throat. Scarlet, I will ask you one last time, why did you go there? Scarlet frowns. I went to apologize to Nathan. The cold steel gently scrapes against her skin. Why did you abandon me to look for Nathan Hayes? After a heavy silence, Scarlet finally replies, because I suddenly realized I don't love you. The person I've always loved is Nathan Hayes. Instantly, the blade slices a bloody line across her neck. Scarlet, why won't you just obediently come back to me? The system told me everything. If you come back, I will keep taking care of you exactly like before. Let's forget everything. We can keep living together exactly like before. Wouldn't that be perfect? You know about the system. Scarlet stares, completely shocked. Tears well up in Trevor's eyes, but his gaze is pure ice. It said you were originally my female lead. We were supposed to be together forever, becoming the absolute happiest couple in this novel, but you broke your promise. You betrayed our vow. You abandoned me for some worthless supporting character. The pure hatred in his eyes makes him press the sharp point deeper into Scarlet's neck, but Scarlet grabs Trevor's wrist violently, flipping him onto the ground. The blade hits the floor, making a sharp, loud clatter. Trevor, are you totally insane? Scarlet yells, gripping her bleeding neck. Drops of crimson seep right through her fingers. Trevor sits there on the floor, laughing like a maniac. Scarlet, Nathan got his main artery slashed before. Let's see if you have the exact same luck he had to survive. Panic, Scarlet desperately mashes the emergency call button by her bed. Scarlet, do you know what I asked the system before it left? He stares at Scarlet's terrified. Trevor smiled with absolute, twisted satisfaction. Our guy had requested 30 minutes. He ordered the system to isolate all communication between this bloody room and the outside world for 30 minutes. Seeing Trevor's absolute crazed look, Scarlet desperately backed away in sheer terror. Trevor, I never knew you were this twisted. What right do you have to judge me? Scarlet, you absolutely had the choice to not love me and choose Nathan or fully follow the plot trajectory. Trevor snapped, but you kept me right here, pushed Nathan away, and then suddenly claimed you loved Nathan and abandoned me. Blood kept oozing straight through Scarlet's trembling fingers. Her consciousness was fading fast. Scarlet, I want you to die right here in front of me. Trevor flashed a ghastly, unhinged smile. I need you to experience Nathan's sheer pain, and mine, a fickle, unfaithful woman exactly like you doesn't deserve a happy ending. You absolutely do not deserve that female lead title. Trevor's crazed face grew totally blurry. Scarlet finally collapsed down to the cold floor. Trevor grabbed the dropped blade, stepped right on her, and gave her several brutal, agonizing stabs with the pointy end. Scarlet faintly pursed her thin lips. Past memories slowly flashed right before her eyes. Nathan back in her childhood, a younger Nathan saying something softly to her she desperately wanted to hear. His exact words, frantically chasing after him, but no matter how hard she tried, she just could not catch up. Tripping over nothing, she fell hard. The Nathan from her previous life, brutally tortured to death by her, lay there, body still. Warm, suddenly that past Nathan snapped his eyes open and stood up, his pale skin actively peeling away with every movement, his entirely dead white eyes locked dead onto her. He viciously stomped her down, suddenly holding a terrifying, sharp blade out of thin air. Scarlet, I do not love you anymore. I absolutely hate you. Now watch this. Nathan's hallucination overlapped perfectly with Trevor's dark figure, looming right in front of her. They tightly gripped the blade, mercilessly driving it deep into Scarlet's grounded body, accompanied by Trevor's absolute hate-filled screams. He fully ended Scarlet's story right there. Trevor instantly collapsed into the growing pool of red. Trembling, he slowly raised the blade to his neck. He stared blankly at the wall's countdown clock. Scarlet, I will never truly love you ever again. Trevor looked up, heavy tears rolling down his cheeks. He once dreamt. In that dream, he was just Trevor Sterling, a poor but hardworking intern. He never met Scarlet Thorne. Relying on sheer talent and sweat, he easily earned the appreciation of top bosses, climbed that steep corporate ladder step by step, and eventually became the youngest male CEO in all corporate history. Later, he met the true love of his life, building a flawless, happy family surrounded by kids. He closed his eyes in total gratitude. Then, he decisively swiped the blade across his neck, ending his own tragic run, and slowly collapsed straight to the cold floor. His consciousness completely faded. Goodbye forever, Trevor Sterling. Goodbye, Scarlet Thorne. Trevor Sterling is finally free to exist somewhere else. Meanwhile, far away in Paris, Nathan had finally returned with Kloe. They stood proudly before a magnificent, massively grand villa. Right out front bloomed gorgeous, vibrant roses, effortlessly making this highly luxurious estate stand out even more. The massive villa doors opened. Beautifully dressed woman in a traditional cheongsam walked out. Mother Lambert smiled and grabbed his hand tightly. We finally meet Nathan. Our whole family has been so. All right, you and I are finally here. Kloe's mom beamed. We finally meet. Seeing you in person, I already adore you. Come in, come in. Mother Lambert quickly led Nathan inside. Oh shoot, the vegetables are still on the stove, she gasped, smacking her forehead with a laugh before rushing off. Hearing the noise, a massive Bernese mountain dog came sprinting over. It circled Nathan happily, then obediently flopped right down in front of him. Duke placed a massive paw on his shoe, sniffing Nathan's fingers before suddenly throwing his entire weight right into Nathan's arms. Now, a fully grown Bernese mountain dog is heavy. Our guy definitely couldn't hold his ground. Boom, down he went. Seeing Duke crush him, Kloe quickly rushed over. But surprise, she found Nathan hugging the dog back, completely in tears. It had been way too long since he felt a big dog's warmth. He couldn't help thinking of his old buddy. Seeing Nathan cry, Duke started spinning anxiously. He totally thought he hurt him. Nathan quickly comforted the sweet dog, until Duke finally stopped, licking the tears away. Let him be, Nathan laughed. Kloe helped him up with a helpless smile. Hope you can handle my crazy house, Nathan smiled back. I really love it. It's so incredibly warm. Soon Father Lambert got off work early. The second he opened that door, he gave Nathan a massive hug. A tall, handsome French guy with striking ocean blue eyes just like Kloe's. Dinner time, where's Clara? He called out. Mother Lambert set the plates, checking the time. Clara is Kloe's older sister. She's a talented sculptor who just opened an art exhibition in Paris. So she was swamped. Kloe explained this casually, her fingertips lightly grazing against Nathan's. Suddenly, a young woman barged right into the busy dining room. When she spotted Nathan, her eyes lit up. Ah, so you're my future brother-in-law, so handsome. Before Nathan could even react, Kloe gently smacked Clara's hand away. Sis, don't scare my boyfriend. Clara put her hands on her hips poking Klo's forehead. Don't get in the way of me and my new brother-in-law bonding, watching this loud, super happy family right in front of him. Nathan's heart felt completely full, worried he might not be used to French cuisine. Mother Lambert actually cooked a massive spread of Chinese food. Father Lambert happily dug into his wife's cooking, while Clara looked totally emotional. Nathan, thank God you came. I haven't eaten Mom's Chinese food in absolutely ages. I missed it so much. Clara kept grabbing more food and stuffing her face. Haven't had this in forever. I'm starving. Kloe just smiled at Nathan from the side. Are they being too dramatic? He just shook his head. To him, this was exactly what a real, loving family looked like. The entire Lambert family happily enjoyed that amazing homemade dinner together. Now you and I need to pay attention here. Clara flicked on the TV. Yesterday, 2 bodies, male and female, were discovered inside room 1309 of a public hospital in Paris, according to the initial reports from the Paris police. Forensics found a sharp, bloody blade at the crime scene. Clara clicked off the TV, muttering about how awful Paris security had gotten lately. What's wrong? Kloe grabbed Nathan's hand and walked over. Seeing her sister's grim expression, she asked again. Clara sighed heavily. Nothing, just 2 Chinese nationals found dead in. All right, let's dive back in. A public hospital. Apparently she was some chief executive back home, surnamed Thorne. Nathan frowned slightly at that. Wait, Chinese nationals surnamed Thorne? Kloe looked at him with genuine concern. Nathan, is this someone you actually know? He shook his head. Didn't matter. They weren't anyone important anyway. Kloe led him straight to the bedroom, but right before she closed the door, Clara's hand blocked it. Nathan, you just stay put. Clara smiled playfully at him from the doorway. Then Mother Lambert happily chimed in. We won't disturb the private world of you 2 lovebirds. Nathan's face burned hot. Kloe quickly interrupted. Mom, please stop talking. She pushed the 2 of them out. You guys are doing way too much. Chinese parents are supposed to be reserved. Mother Lambert covered her mouth in dramatic mock surprise. Sorry, Kloe. It is your first time bringing a boy home. We were just so incredibly happy. Kloe frantically shooed them away. Father Lambert and Duke, who were happily watching the whole comedy unfold, were also completely shooed away. Right. Nathan, sorry you had to witness that chaos. Kloe gently closed the bedroom door. She walked over and pulled him into a tight hug while he sat there. It is fine. He really genuinely like your dad, mom, and sister, he whispered, burying his warm face into her neck. And what about me? Nathan gently stroked Kloe's soft hair. Of course he liked her too. Nathan, I am just so happy. Kloe's eyes completely overflowed with love, but the very next second, Nathan turned the tables and took the lead. Waves of pure desire pulled them in, grabbing their ankles, dragging both down into the deep ocean called love. They were like a tiny boat in a painting, or 2 deep sea fish tightly entwined together. The 2 of them were relentlessly swept by the waves straight down to the ocean floor, falling together into a warm, deeply secret embrace. Afterward, once they cleaned up, Kloe held him close. Right by his ear, she started softly singing a French love song. Gorgeous roses are blooming, the sweet little nightingale is singing. My lover and I stroll beneath this moonlight. Nathan closed his eyes. In absolute peace, you and I both know they will never be apart.